Imagine a man who ruled one of the greatest empires in history, yet found no peace in his heart. A man who fought wars, governed millions, and yet spent his nights writing about the transience of life and the importance of inner peace. This is the story of Marcus Aurelius, the last of the 5 good emperors of Rome, a philosopher on the throne whose legacy continues to inspire us today. Marcus Aurelius was born in 121 AD into a wealthy and influential Roman family. From an early age, he was groomed for greatness, surrounded by the finest tutors and mentors the empire could offer. But what set him apart from other Roman aristocrats was his insatiable thirst for knowledge, particularly philosophy. While other young nobles indulged in lavish parties and political intrigue, Marcus immersed himself in the teachings of Stoicism, a philosophy that would shape his life and reign. At the age of 17, Marcus caught the attention of the Emperor Hadrian, who was so impressed by the young man's intellect and character that he adopted him into the imperial family. This marked the beginning of Marcus's journey from a promising student to the ruler of the known world. But before he could claim the throne, he had to prove himself in every aspect of Roman life: military, political, and social. One of the most fascinating aspects of Marcus Aurelius's life was his unique position as both a philosopher and a warrior. While many emperors before him had been content with delegating military duties to generals, Marcus took an active role in leading his armies. He spent years on the northern frontiers, personally commanding legions against barbarian invasions, all while continuing to write his philosophical meditations. Imagine the scene: a Roman camp in the freezing winter of ancient Germany. The emperor himself, clad in simple armor, stands among his soldiers, sharing their hardships and leading them into battle. This was Marcus Aurelius, a man who believed that true leadership meant leading by example. But what drove him to such extremes? What was it about this man that made him so different from other rulers? The answer lies in his Stoic philosophy. Stoicism taught that true happiness comes not from external circumstances, but from within. It emphasized the importance of virtue, self-discipline, and acceptance of fate. For Marcus, this meant that even as emperor, he had a duty to live according to these principles, no matter how difficult the circumstances. His most famous work, Meditations, is a collection of personal writings that reveal a deeply introspective mind struggling with the same questions we face today. How do we find peace in a chaotic world? How do we remain true to ourselves when faced with power and responsibility? How do we deal with suffering and loss? Marcus's reign was not without its challenges. He faced numerous military threats, economic struggles, and even a devastating plague that swept through the empire. Yet, through it all, he remained steadfast, guided by his philosophical beliefs. He believed that every challenge was an opportunity for growth, every setback a lesson in resilience. One of the most striking aspects of Marcus Aurelius's leadership was his commitment to justice and fairness. He worked tirelessly to reform the legal system, making it more equitable for all citizens. He believed that true power lay not in oppression but in serving the people. This was a radical idea in a world where absolute power was the norm. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about Marcus was his ability to remain human. Despite his exalted position, he never lost touch with his humanity. He wrote about his struggles with anger, his fears, his doubts. He was not a perfect man, but a man who strove for perfection, a quality that makes him relatable even today. As we delve deeper into his life, we see a man who understood the transience of life. He wrote about the inevitability of death, not as a morbid obsession but as a reminder to live each day with purpose and meaning. This awareness of mortality drove him to make the most of every moment, to use his power and influence for the greater good. Marcus Aurelius's reign marked the zenith of the Pax Romana, a period of unprecedented peace and prosperity in the Roman Empire. Under his rule, art, science, and philosophy flourished. He patronized scholars, supported the arts, and promoted education. Yet, he knew that this golden age could not last forever. The final years of his life were spent on the northern frontiers, fighting the Marcomanni and other Germanic tribes. It was here, amidst the chaos of war, that he wrote some of his most profound meditations. He faced death with the same stoic calm as Marcus Aurelius faced the challenges of war and plague. His stoic philosophy became his greatest weapon. He believed that true strength lay not in physical power but in mental fortitude. While leading his armies against the barbarian tribes, he wrote about the importance of maintaining inner peace amidst chaos. One of the most striking aspects of his military campaigns was his approach to leadership. Unlike other Roman commanders who viewed war as a means to glory, Marcus saw it as a duty to protect his people. He shared the hardships of camp life with his soldiers, ate the same food, and even slept on the same ground. This earned him their unwavering loyalty and respect. But perhaps the most challenging battle Marcus faced was not on the battlefield but within himself. As he wrote in his meditations, he struggled with anger, fear, and doubt. He was not immune to human emotions, but he used Stoic principles to transform these emotions into opportunities for growth. During his reign, Marcus implemented significant reforms to help the less fortunate. He established programs to support widows, orphans, and the elderly. When a devastating plague swept through the empire, killing thousands, he used his own wealth to care for the sick and bury the dead. This act of compassion earned him the love and admiration of his people. His commitment to justice was unwavering. He worked to reform the legal system, making it more fair and transparent. He believed that every citizen, regardless of status, should have access to justice. This was a revolutionary idea in a world where power often meant privilege. But perhaps the most profound aspect of Marcus Aurelius's legacy is his philosophical writings. In his meditations, he grappled with questions that are as relevant today as they were in ancient Rome. How do we find meaning in suffering? How do we remain true to our values when faced with adversity? How do we live a life of purpose? One of the most powerful lessons from Marcus's life is his approach to death. He wrote about mortality not as a source of fear, but as a reminder to live each day with intention. This awareness of the transience of life drove him to make the most of every moment, to use his power and influence for the greater good. As the empire faced increasing threats from barbarian tribes, Marcus took personal command of his armies. He spent years on the northern frontiers, leading his legions in battle while continuing to write his philosophical reflections. This unique combination of military leadership and philosophical introspection is what makes his story so remarkable. Imagine the scene: a Roman camp in the dead of winter. The emperor himself, surrounded by his generals, discussing strategy by the light of a campfire. During the day, he leads his troops into battle. At night, he writes about the nature of virtue and the pursuit of wisdom. This was Marcus Aurelius, a man who lived by the principles he preached. His reign marked the end of the Pax Romana, the period of peace and prosperity that defined the height of the Roman Empire. But it was also the beginning of a new era, one in which philosophy and leadership were inseparable. Marcus showed that true power comes not from the ability to dominate others, but from the ability to master oneself. As we continue to explore the life of this extraordinary man, we see a leader who understood the complexities of human nature. He knew that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, it is possible to maintain one's integrity and compassion. This is a lesson that resonates with us today, in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain. Marcus Aurelius's legacy is not just the history of a great emperor, but a testament to the power of philosophy in shaping a life of purpose and meaning. This story reminds us that even in the highest positions of power, it is possible to remain true to one's values and principles. Stay tuned for more insights into the life of this remarkable man. And don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories from history. As Marcus Aurelius's reign progressed, the challenges he faced only grew more complex. The Marcomannic Wars, which began in 166 AD, tested his military prowess and strategic acumen like never before. Leading his armies against the barbarian tribes, he displayed a tactical genius that was both innovative and pragmatic. One of the most remarkable events of his military career was the so-called Miracle of Rain during a critical battle in 172 AD. Facing overwhelming odds, his troops were on the verge of defeat when a sudden storm intervened. The rain quenched the thirst of his soldiers while lightning strikes disrupted the enemy lines. This event was later celebrated throughout the empire and immortalized specialized in art and propaganda. Despite his successes on the battlefield, Marcus remained deeply troubled by the human cost of war. In his private reflections, he wrestled with the contradiction between his duty as a commander and his stoic belief in universal brotherhood. He wrote about the futility of conflict and the importance of seeking peace whenever possible. During this period, Marcus also faced a personal tragedy that tested his philosophical resolve. The death of his beloved wife Faustina in 75 AD left him devastated. Yet even in grief, he demonstrated the stoic principle of maintaining composure in the face of loss. He honored her memory by deifying her and constructing a temple in her name, showing his capacity for both deep emotion and disciplined restraint. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of Marcus's later years was his relationship with his heir, Commodus. While he had hoped to pass on his philosophical ideals and commitment to duty, Commodus proved to be a stark contrast to his father. This realization filled Marcus with a sense of foreboding about the future of the empire. As his health began to decline, Marcus spent his final years reflecting on mortality and the transience of earthly power. He wrote with increasing urgency about the importance of living in accordance with nature and reason, urging future generations to remember the lessons of Stoic philosophy. One of his most profound realizations during this period was the interconnectedness of all things. He came to see the empire not as a collection of disparate territories but as a living organism where the well-being of one part affected the whole. This holistic view informed his governance and his philosophical writings. In his final campaign against the Germanic tribes, Marcus displayed a level of personal courage that inspired his troops. Despite his advancing age and failing health, he led from the front, setting an example of selfless leadership that few of his successors could match. As he neared the end of his life, Marcus Aurelius composed some of his most powerful philosophical reflections. He wrote about the nature of time, the importance of accepting one's fate, and the transcendent power of reason. These final meditations reveal a man who, despite facing unimaginable challenges, remained committed to his philosophical ideals until the very end. His death in 80 marked the end of an era. The empire mourned the loss of a leader who had embodied the best of Roman virtues: wisdom, compassion, and unwavering dedication to duty. Yet his legacy lived on through his writings, which continue to inspire readers around the world. Marcus Aurelius's life serves as a powerful reminder that true greatness lies not in the accumulation of power but in the wise and compassionate use of it. His story teaches us that even in the face of overwhelming adversity, it is possible to maintain one's integrity and pursue a life of purpose and meaning. As we reflect on his legacy, we are reminded of his timeless words: "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This perspective, born from a life of both power and introspection, continues to guide those who seek wisdom in an uncertain world. As we reflect on the legacy of Marcus Aurelius, it becomes clear that his influence extended far beyond his lifetime. His philosophical writings, particularly Meditations, have inspired generations of thinkers, leaders, and seekers of wisdom across centuries and cultures. One of the most enduring aspects of his legacy is the way he integrated Stoic philosophy into the practice of governance. He demonstrated that a ruler could be both powerful and compassionate, strong and wise, decisive and reflective. This balance between action and introspection is a lesson that continues to resonate in modern leadership studies. Marcus Aurelius's approach to education and intellectual development also left a lasting impact. From a young age, he was immersed in the study of rhetoric, literature, and philosophy. His commitment to lifelong learning and self-improvement set a standard for future leaders, showing that true power comes from the mind as much as from military might. His reforms in law and social welfare were groundbreaking for their time. By advocating for the rights of slaves, orphans, and the elderly, he pushed the boundaries of what was considered possible in ancient society. These efforts laid some of the foundations for later social justice movements, demonstrating the importance of using power to uplift the most vulnerable. The way Marcus Aurelius handled crisis situations, particularly during the Antonine Plague and the Marcomannic Wars, provide these valuable lessons in leadership under pressure. His ability to remain calm, make difficult decisions, and maintain his philosophical principles in the face of adversity is a model for how leaders can navigate modern crises. Perhaps most significantly, his writings continue to offer practical guidance for living a meaningful life. The themes he explored: acceptance of fate, the importance of reason, the transience of life, and the pursuit of virtue, are as relevant today as they were in ancient Rome. His insights into human nature and the challenges of leadership remain remarkably prescient. In the centuries following his death, Marcus Aurelius became a symbol of the ideal ruler, a philosopher king who used his power for the greater good. His legacy influenced not only Roman thinkers but also later philosophers, from the Renaissance humanists to modern-day Stoic revivalists. Today, his teachings are being rediscovered by a new generation seeking meaning and purpose in an increasingly complex world. His emphasis on self-discipline, emotional resilience, and moral integrity speaks directly to contemporary challenges, from mental health struggles to the search for authentic leadership. As we conclude this exploration of Marcus Aurelius's life and legacy, it is worth remembering his own words: "Everything we see is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we hear is an opinion, not the truth." This perspective, born from a life dedicated to seeking wisdom and serving others, continues to challenge and inspire us to look beyond surface appearances and seek deeper truths in our own lives. The story of Marcus Aurelius reminds us that even in the most challenging times, it is possible to live a life of purpose, integrity, and wisdom. His example encourages us to strive for excellence not just in our external achievements but in the quality of our character and the way we treat others. As we delve deeper into the enduring legacy of Marcus Aurelius, it is fascinating to explore how his ideas have been interpreted and applied across different eras and cultures. His philosophy, rooted in Stoicism, has proven remarkably adaptable to modern challenges and contexts. One of the most significant contemporary applications of his teachings is in the field of mental health and well-being. Psychologists and therapists have found Stoic principles, as articulated by Marcus, to be particularly effective in helping individuals cope with anxiety, depression, and stress. His emphasis on distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot has become a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy. In business and leadership circles, Marcus Aurelius's approach to decision-making and ethical leadership continues to inspire executives and entrepreneurs. His commitment to rational thinking, emotional resilience, and serving a higher purpose resonates with modern leaders seeking to build sustainable and ethical organizations. The digital age has brought new challenges to personal development and self-discipline, areas where Marcus's teachings prove particularly relevant. His emphasis on mindfulness, self-reflection, and living in the present moment aligns with contemporary practices of mindfulness and meditation. Interestingly, his ideas about social justice and equality have found new relevance in today's discussions about human rights and social welfare. His reforms regarding the treatment of slaves and marginalized groups demonstrate a progressive mindset that anticipates modern concepts of social justice. Marcus Aurelius's approach to handling adversity and maintaining composure under pressure has become a model for crisis management in various fields. From sports psychology to military training, his principles of mental fortitude are being applied to help individuals perform under stress. In education, his emphasis on lifelong learning and intellectual curiosity has inspired new approaches to personal development and continuous learning. His own dedication to studying and self-improvement serves as a model for modern educational philosophies that emphasize holistic development. The revival of interest in Stoicism, particularly in its Marcus Aurelius variant, has led to the creation of numerous modern resources, from apps to workshops, designed to help people apply Stoic principles to their daily lives. This resurgence shows no signs of slowing down, as more and more people seek practical tools for navigating life's challenges. Perhaps most significantly, his writings continue to offer solace and guidance to individuals facing personal crises or existential questions. The universality of his insights into human nature, the meaning of life, and the nature of suffering speaks directly to the human condition in any era. As we look to the future, it is clear that Marcus Aurelius's legacy will continue to evolve and adapt to new challenges. His emphasis on reason, virtue, and the pursuit of wisdom provides a timeless framework for personal development and ethical living. In conclusion, the enduring relevance of Marcus Aurelius lies not in his status as a historical figure but in the practical wisdom he offers for living a meaningful life. His example shows us that the pursuit of philosophical understanding is not an abstract exercise but a practical path to personal growth and societal improvement. As we reflect on his life and teachings, we are reminded of his profound insight that true wealth lies not in material possessions but in the quality of our character and the depth of our understanding. This message, born from the mind of a philosopher king, continues to guide and inspire those who seek to live a life of purpose and integrity in an ever-changing world.